Hey, it's Chris Knight, founder of Self-Intelligence. Welcome to another episode of the Self-Intelligence podcast, where everyday people just like you can get free expert guidance and support to resolve any personal problem or drama you're experiencing. If you feel confused about the relationship you're in because it's triggering your past baggage, or maybe you've had one disastrous relationship after another, you may also be trying to work on yourself to heal so that you can be ready for the next relationship. If you can relate to any of this, you are going to deeply appreciate this raw and honest conversation. My guest, who has chosen to remain anonymous, has experienced her fair share of relationship trauma, and she's now feeling confused and reluctant about opening up to new love that has recently and miraculously entered her life. The confusion is coming from her past. She has lost trust in herself and with men who have commitment issues and poor sexual boundaries. In this podcast, you will discover manipulative tendencies when creating boundaries, the confusion between love and personal gain, the dynamics of building trust in relationships, the consequence of avoiding uncomfortable conversations, how to avoid becoming repulsive to your partner, and much, much more. A big shout out to my guests for their courage and vulnerability, which paves the way for all of us to rise above the difficulties we encounter in relationships, particularly in those early stages. Thank you, Harvey, for coming on to discuss a really vulnerable subject, a subject I find that actually has so much charge in it, a lot of shame, emotions that can get tucked away and hidden for a lifetime. How about you let us know what's the challenge that you're wanting to bring to this conversation right now to get some clarity around?
I wanted to talk about sexuality and relationships because I feel that it's triggering me a lot at the moment. I have been going through a huge journey for a year where I have been looking after myself, trying to learn different things to protect myself completely. And I haven't had feelings for someone for so long. Yeah, I'm starting to have feelings with someone and I want to learn how to not cross the line to that it becomes toxic. I want to learn to understand the freedom of love and it's not going to hurt me.
I hear you when you say that there's a maturity that you want to approach this relating with and learn the lessons of the past. Have your past experiences been traumatic in some way in terms of relationship?
I had a boyfriend ages ago and he was toxic. Like, oh my God, like he was cheating on me the whole time and I just wanted him. I just want him to be mine, right? Like I didn't care that he was cheating on me and I was like forgiving him the whole time and he will go and jump into another girl and I was like, it's okay. Like I just want him to be with me. So as long as there's love here, everything is going to be okay. And I still love him. So we went 5 years like that and it destroyed myself. And then we broke up and I stayed in New Zealand. He came back to Chile and I was like, I never want to have a type of relationship like that anymore. I just want to have peace. And then I found this beautiful man that we had that 8 years relationship. Kiwi guy, beautiful man. And we were in the right time to have a baby. And I had to do a termination and it was horrible. It was the worst. And my womb was completely shut down and I had a lot of problems after that. And kind of like my heart shut down to him as well. So since then, I have been going into this journey of like healing my womb and like trying to open up again, trying to like my heart was completely shut. Like if I see a man, I was like, shit, like I just don't feel anything about men. I was even like, maybe I'm lesbian. Maybe I just don't have feeling for anyone. Maybe I'm just going to be like that forever. Then I fell in love with my boss and he's married and it was completely fucked. And nothing happened with him, but just the situation of putting myself in that place of like, why the fuck did I put myself in that situation? He's married. Like, why did I fall in love with someone that is married? And then now I'm in this journey of like, fuck, nothing was happening. I just want to heal myself to put have like a good foundation for me to keep on going with life. and things wasn't working with flatmates. And finally, I found a good flatmate for me, and I kind of like start to feel stuff like things for him. And he has a little baby that comes around on the weekends, and it's so chilled. Everything is working perfectly, and we both were like, shit, like this is how the fuck did we find each other? And it just works. Everything was working perfectly, and I think we got a little bit trapped in that perfection that it was happening. And all my boundaries that I thought that I have learned in all of these years, they went into hell. I just couldn't handle myself, and I just gave myself to him. It was a voice behind me saying like, boundaries, don't let this thing happen. You have to be strong. And I was like, oh, fuck it. Alcohol was in between, and we had sex, and it was the first time for me that I was having sex with that I was open myself to someone, that I opened my womb to someone. And I feel that it has been so unrespectful to myself that I did that to him. Like that I did that to myself with someone that he was drunk, that is my flatmate, that I'm gonna see him every day. And as it was a drunk situation, alcohol was involved, wasn't that great. So it wasn't like the way that I wanted to open myself to someone. And kind of like I had this idea of like, the day that I'm gonna open myself to someone, I'm just gonna fucking love him so much, and I'm gonna give every inch of my skin to that person because I'm gonna be ready to do this. And that thing happened, but it was just the situation wasn't in the right place, in the right moment. So that thing happened, and then it was like super awkward. Like before this thing happened, he was like, oh my God, like everything works so good. Like we were having this huge connection. And then after that, everything went into hell. Like he's not here. He's up in the north, and I don't want to get toxic. I want to understand polyamorous relationships, because he has all the right to, probably if he's with someone up there, or if he finds someone else, that I'm gonna be fine with that. That what happened probably for him was just a crazy thing that it happened in a party, but for me it's huge. For me it's like I fucking gave myself to someone, and he's not like giving the value that I am giving to that. And or like how I'm gonna handle this if I get rejected, how I'm gonna handle this situation if he likes someone else. And I was just creating this whole...
Let's kind of summarize right where we are right now. Okay, so we're on track. You've met a flatmate, you've had beautiful synchronicity, connection, flow, all of that's taken place. There's some kind of chemistry there, there's some kind of attraction that's taken place. You've had sex now, not in the ideal way because you were drunk, you maybe had some alcohol involved and things like this. And there's no relationship conversation at the moment, right? But you've had sex with this person. But in your mind, that sex meant a whole range of things, right? So there's a meaning on it. And you're not sure if the meaning that you've put on it is the same meaning that he's put on it. And now your mind is going all twisted in the meaning. So you talked about boundaries and you talked about upholding boundaries. Okay. This is probably a helpful place to start. And also to talk about the nature of relationships, because relationships are extremely confused, because there's no possible way you can ever be sure that two people are placing the exact same meaning on anything. And yet, in order not to get hurt, particularly like you have done in the past, maybe if we can get that same exact meaning together, then we would, be safe, and there could be trust and all of these types of things. But this is not how trust is developed. This is not how relationships thrive from this place. So I'm so glad that you've asked to have this conversation, because we can nip this early, because what I've come to discover about boundaries is they are established in radical honesty. They're not established through controlling someone else's meaning that they place onto things that is never within your control. So in the case that you choose in your authenticity, in your radical honesty to have sex with someone, then that is exactly what it is in that moment. And that is where it lands. That's where it ends. And what happened is that, and that is it. Full stop. And you're honoring that which you bring yourself into in that moment. That is it. And in the honoring of that moment, in the truth of that moment, you are then establishing trust because the other is experiencing that you're true to yourself in that moment. Now, there's a lot of confusion I can hear in you about what that even means because you've put a whole bunch of expectations on yourself, I can hear, in being natural to yourself in the moment. So it may have been totally fine for you to have sex with this person and it felt in synchronicity, it felt in flow. Everything was fine other than your past stories that now get projected into this current moment and gone, am I doing the right thing? Am I honoring my womb? This may be happening. And the discernment then can be confused or distorted because of the past, you see. So to build trust is to do the work, the inquiry that you've learned, to clear yourself of that past and to then make the decision on the vibration that is in front of you, not the cloudedness from that history that's painful. And then if it's, yes, sex is here, then sex is here. Great, enjoy. This is your life. You get to enjoy your body. You get to enjoy his body. You get to enjoy that moment, whatever it is, and it's fine. But this inquiry often is the thing that's missed. And what happens instead is hoping he is going to have the same meaning I have. Now, what is inquiry doing? What is one of the questions of inquiry is, what is the meaning that you place on this? Isn't it? That's one of the questions. What is the meaning? Why do we ask this question?
Without a meaning, you find freedom.
Yeah, you find the flow. You find the flow, the naturalness that is there. With the meaning, everything becomes distorted. It becomes clouded in past and future projections. And now you're lying. So that person could directly ask you questions. They could, even in their body language, show you very directly where they're at, right? Very clear things are happening. And yet the meaning that you've placed on everything is distorting all of that. The importance of having a habituated inquiry in your life, what are we inquiring on? On your thoughts and perceptions, okay, is so that in that moment, you can discern the love that's there versus the history and the delusions that are there. Because you're experiencing some kind of love or some kind of connection happening, true?
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, that's happening. So then you can just put your focus on that. You can keep true to that. Because as you've experienced, you've had a 5-year relationship, you've had an 8-year relationship, the relationships are clearly not permanent fixtures in reality, are they? They're not permanent whatsoever. Then you can go, okay, I know relationships don't work like that. How many do I have to have? All that I can be true to, which is what I thought I was doing in the past, was following love, you see? But you weren't following love in the past. You were following a delusion of control. That's not what you're following now. In the past, there would have been many, many opportunities to be radically honest, and you weren't. That's not following your heart. That's not following your heart. Do you understand? So don't cloud those two things together. Because you said, I wanted to let love bring this all together and it be the ruler, if you like, and guiding principle. I'm putting those words in. But that's the sense I got for this relationship, yeah? And then I ended up destroyed. This is what you said. Does that resonate with you? I want to make sure I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Kind of like I just let myself go with this chemistry and it was just love, right? And then like I could feel it in my whole cells that I was kind of like, I'm fucking ready, I'm fucking ready to finally kind of like connect with someone. And then I had that little voice like, he's a player, he's a fucking player.
Are you talking about the past person or the current person?
The current person.
Let's just stay with the past person for a moment, because that's who you're projecting into this current moment. You're projecting that past person onto this person. And what you've associated with that past person is that if I follow love, I end up in a nightmare. That association is really not helping, or big time not helping, because following love is all you have. That is actually true. But what's important to learn now is, how true was it that you're following love? What is love exactly? Because in most cases, love is interpreted through a personalized, delusional, future projected state. This is not love. And yet the essence of love can be kind of there with that too. And they get kind of confused. So the simplicity is, there's flow, there's ease, there's connection, and there's a natural kind of love that's in the atmosphere of this connection. Yes. Okay. That's love. And everything that is the personal you is not love.
It's fear.
Yes. Fear. Yes. It'll turn into fear. So in that past relationship that you associate with love that destroyed things, if you look more closely, you'll see it was fear, okay, and expectations and future ideas and all these things. Maybe if I do this and maybe if I do that, he'll come around, and maybe you'll see all the control, you'll see all the game playing, you'll see all of that really clearly, okay? So don't associate that past experience with love. You'll be very confused if you do that, because I agree with you. Let love rule this. Don't let relationship rule this. Don't let any ideas of relationship, because the relationships and the dogma and belief systems about relationships are doomed for a lot of pain, essentially.
Should I keep on going that way, the way that I was doing it before? Or I just open myself to the reality of what it is and just suck it up? Like, this is the way that it is. And I don't want to fucking fall into, like, take it as a rejection.
I hear you when you say there's something really genuine here.
Mm-hmm.
The highest value human beings have with each other is that connection that you're talking about. The only thing that screws that up is the ego and its fears. So let's say he goes and sleeps with someone or whatever the case. And that may be out of some habit or something he wants to do or whatever the case is, right? And in respect to your current situation, that doesn't change the love that you and him have. Yes or no?
No, it wouldn't.
It's like you come into an orbit with each other that is so natural. It's organically respectful and deeply trustworthy. But to get to that, there are these initiations. And these initiations are behaviors and activities, comments, all sorts of things that put doubt in what you both have. It puts doubt in it. It's like, there is something here, but when this happened, now I doubt. Or when that takes place, I doubt. You see what I mean? When you realize you're in a relationship with the energetic that is here, not the person, not him, but the energetic that's here, then he will orbit, if he resonates with you and there's real something there, he will orbit into the frequency of that with you, and all the behaviors and actions are dictated by that frequency. But if you are in love with him, the person is going to do things that don't make any sense to your version of relationship and intimacy. Okay, he's going to do things like that. You're going to do things like that too. You're going to do things like that won't make sense to him. This is how it works. Because the relationship is not personal. It is truth and love. That's the relationship everybody wants, is the relationship of truth and love. But the person thinks they're the owner of truth and love. But the person is the owner of fear and ownership and game playing and expectations and controllingness and manipulation and all of these things. That's what the person does, and mistakes all of that as love. This moment you're experiencing right now, where he's away and you don't know what he's doing.
No, he texted me that he met that girl. Yeah, something like that. And I was like, oh, cool. Shit.
So here's an example of you taking a very real and respectful approach to that text. Meaning, what is the situation here? There's no claim to ownership in this. There's been a sexual encounter, yes, okay, that you consented to and he consented to, even though there may have been some alcohol in that. And so your relating comes from there, from a place of freedom. If you let it come from there and he actually is drawn to you, he will just get drawn to you because it's already pulling him in. But if you create all these conditions and expectations and fears right now, then he would just be repulsed.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Just like you would be repulsed.
I'm repulsed too. Like, and this is where I want to understand, like, I don't want to get involved with someone who is a player.
What's a player?
I'm just gonna fuck with you and with you and with you and with you and with you, and I just don't care. And like girls, we just get sick the whole time with, you know, sex transmission and stuff.
But that's where radical honesty comes in, and being direct and being true. Going, look, at this point, there is no even future of you and him having sex again. You don't even know if this will happen. Okay. But in the case that there's a connection, that sense that I want to be free to have, you know, be sexual with you and all of this. If you want to be sexual with me, I want a blood test. I'll give you a blood test as well. And let's see, and just make sure that we're safe. And it's like, well, if that's difficult or if that's too much, your answer's already there, you see? You already got your answer.
That's a boundary.
That's radical honesty. Boundaries are such delusional ideas that are actually passive ways to try and control someone else. What I'm saying is a boundary in the way that's actually useful to you because it's not manipulative or controlling. I'm saying something and now you can respond to that something. It's completely up to you. It's not something you have to do. It's because if you don't do it, I'm not going to engage with you. It's simple as that. I've already telling you what I'm going to do. I'm being clear to you about what I'm going to do. It's that simple. And then they're like, oh, she's not creating a prison cell around me. She's just telling me what's what. Like, that's as simple as that. And then he goes, I don't want to do that. Then you go, all right, well, off you go. But the limited, lacking, fearful, desperate part of you goes, I don't want to say that because that may scare him away. But I want him. And if I want him, maybe I can work this out, right? Maybe I can get him to do the things that I want whilst I kind of don't be so confrontingly direct. And then maybe when I've got him in, I can create boundaries. And it's like, what is that? The boundary is moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment in radical honesty. He may say, for example, you may say, let's have sex. Like maybe sex comes up and it's like, look, I'd love to have sex with you. I really like you. I feel like there's something here. Before we do that though, I prefer to have a test to see where we're at because I don't want to get sexually transmitted stuff going on. I don't know your situation. It's your life. You're doing what you want. And he's just like, yeah, okay, fine, you know, whatever. Or it's like, don't you trust me? And it's like, why would I trust you? I don't know anything about you. I don't know what you're doing. This is just for me. And he's like, oh, it's not personal. No, it's not personal. It's got nothing to do with I don't trust. I would say this to anyone.
Oh my God, magic. Yeah. Yeah.
But because people take things personally and because you are coming from a personal place, then you don't want to say it because it will be taken personally, you see. And it's like, now I cannot have a basic, direct, adult conversation with someone, you see. You're hearing me, right? Because this is where it all goes wrong, is that one conversation. And then guess what? When people feel that you're underhanded and that you're controlling them and this type of thing, guess what they start to do? They start to lie.
Yeah, and pull away.
Yeah, pull away, withdraw and all of that. But if you're just direct and upfront, it kind of brings them to be direct and upfront. And they might say, and this is how it works. Like it's miraculous how this works. They may say, no, I don't feel I want to do that. So fine, we won't have sex. And you go, that's no problem. I totally respect your decision. And they go, okay. And the next minute they come to you with a test and they go, oh, I had another thought about it and I'm fine to do it, you know? And you're like, oh, great. Thank you for doing that. And it's just like, oh, it's all just working. But you may never have experienced that because you've been such a beggar and fear of being alone, fear of rejection, all of these things stop the basicness of what is a confronting conversation. It could be confronting in a certain way to have a conversation like that, but it's nothing compared to years of suffering in underhanded sort of white liar-ish controlling, manipulative relating.
How do you kind of like, all right, if he has a test, he's all good, but he also wants to keep on having sex with other girls. I don't like that. Well,
then you don't do it. If you don't resonate with that, then you go, well, I don't want to really be part of that. If you're done with that at some point, I'm here. Like I'll be open to perhaps continue on if you want, but I don't resonate with that. That's not what I want.
So how does polyamorous work?
Well, they are okay with that. And they do testing. They do a lot of sexual testing, make sure that they're clear and that they're not going to be, I mean, I'm not saying, actually, I'm talking about a healthy polyamorous relationship. I don't know what people do generally. I mean, but let's say it was a consenting, very mature polyamorous relationship. Well, first of all, in any true loving relationship, you're not strangers. You tell each other everything. Like, I mean, what do you got to hide from each other? You're in love with each other. You tell each other everything. So you're not like, there's not this sense of like, there's this stranger in my life doing really weird things I don't know about, like it's not like that. Of course, when you first meet, everybody's like a stranger, if you like. But when there's that deep connection and that love that's there, things move very quickly, right? To open up and to kind of be available to each other. And there's such radical honesty going on. And the value of that is like the highest value you can possibly imagine. If someone came along to have sex with, they're going to tell you instantly, or it's going to work because you're so respectful to the energy that you're embraced in. Of course, some people are scared of commitment or scared of what it means to be in a relationship and all that kind of thing. But you may not be attracted to someone who's not prepared to be clear about that stuff. And you'll feel that in the vibration of things. You just sense it, and you'll sense it, and you're not going to blame someone else like they owe you something, but you'll just speak directly to it. Again, that's radical honesty, which is a so-called boundary. And you're completely alone with that. You're completely alone with that, because someone else may swear black and blue, something, I'm not doing this, or I didn't see that girl, or da-da-da-da-da. And you're on your own and you have to go, look, regardless of what you say, I just don't feel right. I don't feel right about it. You may be saying the truth. I don't know. It's just, I don't feel right about it. So I've got to follow that. That's the boundary you're talking about.
And it's a radical honesty as well.
It's a radical honesty. And they may say, don't you trust me? You go, it's got nothing to do with you. You cannot change my mind. You cannot get me to feel what I feel. You cannot do any of that. It's got nothing to do with you as a fact. I am responding to my senses, to my instincts, and I'm not saying anything I'm feeling is a fact itself, but I've got to go with what is here. That's all I've got. And they go, all right, well, yeah, that's it. That's all you got. So when that's the case, when this is the level of relating that's happening, people show up impeccably. Because they know there's no game that can be played. There's no game. It's all vibrationally based. And vibration, you cannot hide vibration. Do you understand?
That's the thing, because I'm feeling like that vibration that is, I don't like that. Like there is something dangerous there. And I don't want to put myself in that situation. But I also was thinking, how on earth I can ask him, like, what was that girl that you met? Like how... that was so quick, like you just left. Like, what the fuck, Well, you can ask, but there's you cannot expect that it's your business. You can ask anything you like, but if you have the expectation that it's your business, that's where you've lost yourself. So I'm making it my business because I want to know who was the girl, and actually I shouldn't even ask who was that girl.
You can ask whatever you want. There's no issue with asking any question you want, but you've got to check yourself with your questions and go, where am I asking this from? Am I asking this question from love, or am I asking this question from fear?
Fear, completely fear.
I wouldn't be asking questions from fear if you want to establish trust with someone, because trust does not get established in fear, does it?
No.
Trust gets established in love. So instead, it could be an opportunity to share the fears that you're having as a sharing, because when you ask a question that comes from fear, it's manipulative. And everyone knows it, and it's vibrationally there. Everybody feels it, okay? If you were to say, look, I've got feelings for you, and I've had this fear come up, I've had fear come up. I can see it. You've been with someone else, and I just wanted to let you know where I was at. I felt some fear come up with that. And that's kind of it. It's just a sharing. It's not like an expectation he should do anything or say anything, but you can share things, of course. But of course, your ego's going, don't show him what you feel, because then you've let your game out of the bag, you see, and then he could take advantage of that now, or he could use you now with that, or whatever the case is. The ego is a game playing instrument of power. But if you truly share the game, the ego's got nothing, because the ego's like, why'd you do that? And you're like, because I'm here for love. I'm here for love. I'm not here for fear. I'm not here for games. I'm not here for any of that shit.
Yeah, that's what I want.
All right. But you've got to be prepared then to be true. If you're asking a question from fear, you're not being true. Unless you're sharing that your question's coming from fear, then you're true because that's the truth.
It's so confusing because he's like, I don't know, sometimes he cooks for me and everything, like it just works perfectly. And again, we just fell and boom, everything happened again.
Like you had sex again.
Yeah. I was like, why am I doing this? Like I can feel that I love this connection. I love this love, but I have so much fear. And why I'm keep on doing it? It's like I just want to put myself in situations of fear so then I can I get repulsive and I get rejection.
Yes. And so we're avoiding the repulsive part, okay, right now. That's everything I'm talking to you about is to not become repulsive. To not become repulsive is to not let fear be the guiding of anything that you do, but it's not to pretend fear's not there. Fear can be there. There's no issue with fear, but you're not using fear covertly while you're putting this front on that's this manipulative game playing, you see. So I'm not saying there's any issue with fear. Fear's definitely going to happen for him, for you, for everybody in so many situations. But what is the better way to deal with this? Firstly, if you have fear, you do your inquiry. You do your work. Yes, you get clear about what the fears are. You give it space. You do the work. You do not do it with him. Your fear is your fear. It's not his fear. It's your fear. So you've got to do that work. If you want an adult relationship, if you want a relationship that thrives, you've got to be an adult. A child will not have a thriving relationship. So you've got to be the adult to the child inside you that's afraid. How do you be the adult to the child in you? Is you do your inquiry, you see? If you would like to discover who you really are beyond the voice in your head and emotional states that cause relationship drama, stress, health issues, procrastination, sabotage, addictions, essentially all the drama and personal problems you can think of, come and join me for the Wake Up Experience, which is the first step in freeing yourself from the inside out. See the link in the description for more details. Then as an adult, you may share those fears. You may express some of those things that are going on, you see, but you're coming from the vibration of love now. So fear is completely okay because it's not in a manipulative way. Because now he feels safe to share his fears now. He's got fears too. Everybody does. He's different to yours though. He'll be like, oh, wow, it's safe to do that? That's the first time I've ever experienced that. That's like, I don't know, that feels respectful. This feels like a relationship I want to be in. Guess what? You're moving closer together, you see, because you're becoming attractive, not repulsive. So if you have sex with him, he cooks you dinner, you have sex, but that's all just naturally what it is. There's no issue there. The only issue is your past and your future. If he wanted to have sex with you, but you just felt, no, I want to get a test. I don't feel like it's safe. I just don't feel physically safe. Then you get the test and you say to him, mate, I want to have sex with you every day. Like I want to have sex with you in the weirdest place. I want to do the craziest shit you can imagine. Just get the test. Something feels a bit blocked with that for me right now because that's where I'm at. The relationship will naturally grow because of love and respect. If you're relying on him to give you assurances about your fears, it won't grow.
It's repulsive, yeah.
It's repulsive. So you may end up in a relationship though. A lot of people end up in relationships that are fear-based, most people. So what does this one look like? Two people that are essentially strangers who love each other but also fear each other. And it's kind of like each one is wondering, when is this going to completely collapse? Like maybe in a couple of years, maybe in whatever years. And then as it's very unstable, because that's the nature of it, then all of these things come in to prop it up. Okay, like having a baby and getting a mortgage and, place with each other, doing all these things. Because maybe all of that can prop up the inherent instability, which is inside me. But maybe all this external stuff and all these external obligations and perceptions, maybe I can get control with all of that. And then I'll feel okay. I'll feel like I can breathe. I'll feel like he couldn't possibly cheat on me, while we've got 3 children or while we've got this going on or that. This is actually what's going on. And rarely anyone wants to admit that because it's so sickening that that's what's going on. Okay, but you're admitting the very early stages of where it happens. I can see this fear's coming in. I don't want it to come in, but there's this momentum, there's this flow, there's this beautiful energy happening. There's also things that aren't very ideal happening that are triggering my fear. Do your inquiry, be radically honest. Do your inquiry, be radically honest. When he speaks, listen without a story that is your life, without a story that is my life. Only listen. Are you hearing me? Even as I say these words.
Yeah.
Because what we do is we don't listen. I tell you what we do when we're living through the ego is we hear what the person's saying and then work out, how does that work out with my life? And so they're looking at you going, I know you're not hearing me because there's a filter there. What is this filter? The filter is my life. So I'm only going to hear you to what relates or aligns with the projections in my own mind. And they're like, you're not listening. I know you're not hearing me. What's the point of bother? Why bother even talk or whatever? That you don't even listen. You only listen to what's in your own head. And then we play a game together. So the energy for sex is there. So you still have sex. You still go to the movies. You still go to dinner. You still do it. But listening is not actually happening. There's two strangers wondering how they're going to get the other one to do what I want them to do. You know, this is what's happening. So love is not the basis of the relationship anymore. It's a war of wants. Who's the most clever at getting what they want? Who's the most clever? Who can be the most attractive? It's just the most obvious thing when you see it, right? And you've experienced it enough. You're not in a love relationship with a person if you want to have the relationship you've come on to talk to me about. You're in a relationship with truth and love. That's your relationship. He is just a catalyst for that relationship. The moment that you turn him into the my life story, you're not in a relationship with truth and love. You're in a relationship between one delusional idea of a person and another delusional idea of a person. If you would like to download a free beginner self-recognition guided meditation audio to start your journey of healing and freeing yourself from the inside out, see the link in the description or go to selfintelligence.com. So look at it like this. The universe has sent you a catalyst to develop in truth and love. That's what's happening here. And guess what? If he's not the one to meet you in truth and love, you'll be sent another to meet you in truth and love.
That's a fear that I have because my ex-partner, we came to Australia to save money, buy a house together. We separated before and he bought his own house and now he's living in his own house. And I'm like why I'm doing this to myself? Like I can kind of like make things work with my ex and have a completely sane type of love and relationship with trust and love, you know, but I don't feel that attraction anymore as I feel it with him. I don't feel that sexual energy with him. I can grow old with my ex. We are such a good friends. It's so sad that I don't feel that sexual drive. And I feel it with this person that the first thing that happened, it brought me into fear straight away. It brought me it's like I have a perfect life with my ex. We has everything and we can create everything we want. Or this life where I have a surfer that we go out and surf and I don't know, like I'm a free diver and we can dive together and things like that. Like it's just amazing how everything is like we found each other, but it's my mind that is bringing it down everything. And it's like, oh, he met another girl. Oh, it's another fucker. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut up. Well, if you're afraid, then just come back with him and have a boring life.
Yes, but you're not drawn to that. What's radically honest is that you're drawn to this person who's triggering your stuff, and the triggers are there to activate your inquiry, and your inquiry is there to discover the truth of who you really are. So it's all perfect. And the reason we're having this conversation is you've had enough life experience now to go, how do I convert these delusions into, how do I combust them into beautiful gifts? How do I combust them into gifts that if he goes off and has sex with someone else, that is a gift of my self-discovery? That's what we're here to talk about. Not how do I turn this person into the person I want them to be.
Just listening to that, it just kills me straight away. I cannot handle it.
Well, you can, but that's what you're here to discover that you can. I'm asking you to not play games. I'm asking you to do your inquiry and be in reverence and honoring of the vibration of love that is impersonal, because you said yourself, I didn't find this guy, so it's not yours. So if it's not yours from the beginning, don't ever make it yours, because it's not yours. The proof is already in the beginning. You're going like this. It's a mystery. How do we find each other? Okay, exactly. You didn't find him. You didn't. You cannot claim it, so don't ever claim it. It's not yours.
It's not a match, it's not a match in Tinder or it's in all this shit,
But any of that, the universe, consciousness works through everything. This can happen through Tinder. This can happen at the pub. This can happen the beach. It can happen anything. Doesn't matter. The universe works through everything. There's nothing it is determining as right and wrong and good and bad and nothing like that. You can get the most synchronistic, magical things happen on dating sites. It can happen. Of course it can. Why couldn't it? Okay. Only human minds create, oh no, that's put judgment, limitation. No one knows a thing. No one knows a thing. Like you don't know a thing. Like all you know is, I don't know, he's here. Somehow it happened. I don't even know how it happened. But what I do know is this: fear is here. And fear has not proven to serve me. And I've just embarked on a year-long journey illuminating fear, the thing that I used to once think was me, and discovering it's not me. It's a thought. It's a thought that I'm suffering, that I contaminate beautiful things with, like this relating that you're in right now. So we will do further inquiry specifically, and I want you to share this because you're in the self-intelligence community, so you can share your inquiry on the very exact situations and things that are coming up. Use it. Don't go quiet. Share it. Get it out of your system. Don't let it fester. Do your self-recognition practices. Give those thoughts your love and space so they can dissolve and not be the driver of things. You can do this because you are so much more beyond those thoughts, but this is here to prove that to you. The universe doesn't do conceptual spirituality. So it sent you this guy to go, let's actually do this for real.
I can't, I'm just coming out from all this shit last year, and then the car accident, and then this thing is like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, no, it won't. And anyone who tunes in with this, they'll also feel that. The universe is just not going to give anyone a break. It just keeps pummeling us. Yes, until we just are so willing and ripe to let go of delusions. So thank you for having this conversation, and I look forward to seeing your inquiry processes. And if you have any, you come up against any challenges with the inquiry, you're not sure, like you haven't nailed it, do you know what I mean? Then I'll further support you specifically with that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Just have to put it down there and enjoy this time that I'm alone and I can actually do it.
Yes, use this time wisely. Yeah, if you really honor this relating and you honor yourself, you'll use this time wisely.
Thank you so much. This is yes, it's a lot of clear water. Just diving in clear water. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you got value out of this, please share it so that other people can benefit also. For more information about self-intelligence, including joining my next Wake Up experience or detailed information about my self-intelligence course, go to selfintelligence.com.